Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Royal Nerd Gaming. I am your host, the Royal Nerd, and holy crap, my Watson rework video is past 2,000 views. That's incredible, and the support on that video has been absolutely astounding. Also, it's made it very clear that everyone really wants a Watson rework. But Watson isn't the only character who needs some attention, and that brings us to the subject of today's video, Crypto, as requested by commenter Kento Wakai, so thank you for the suggestion. In any case, at the time of recording this, Crypto has a lower pick rate than Watson even, making him the least picked character in the game. Let me start off by saying that Crypto is not a bad legend. Every legend can be played effectively, and there are undoubtedly some amazing Crypto mains out there. But I'm not making this video because Crypto is bad, but rather because he is a legend that is very easy to play badly. This is because Crypto's kit revolves entirely around his surveillance drone, which pulls Crypto out of the action every time he uses it. If you don't pick the right moments to use your drone, you're essentially leaving your team down a player, and more often than not, that can end up getting the team killed. This problem is only exacerbated in solo queue, where teammates willing to communicate is not a guarantee, and so finding those moments to use the drone becomes even harder. Alternatively, you can choose not to use your drone as much, especially if you're in the middle of a fight, but then you're not benefiting from playing Crypto. You might as well be playing another character whose abilities won't put the team at risk. You see, Crypto's the only legend in the game without a good combat ability. Real quick, I want to explain what I mean by combat ability, because I know some people are going to argue that other legends don't have combat abilities either, but everyone does. When I say combat ability, I'm not exclusively referring to direct damage abilities. Rather, I'm referring to abilities that have easily accessible, functional purpose in combat. So, Gibraltar's airstrike? Obviously that's a combat ability. But so is his dome shield. Quick to deploy and offers immediate function in combat. Lifeline's drone revive? That's a combat ability. Bloodhound's scan? That's a combat ability. Pathfinder's grapple, Bangalore's smoke, Sloba's bracelet, Mirage's dance party, even Watson's interception pylon. Everyone has some sort of easily accessible combat ability. And those are the key words here. Easily accessible. Crypto taking the time to position his drone in a spot where it hopefully won't get seen just so he can get as much or maybe even less information than you would with a Bloodhound or Seer scan? That's not a combat ability. The EMP, on the other hand, well, yes, that's technically a combat ability in that it will only be used in combat, but it's not a good one. The EMP requires him to stop what he's doing, enter his drone, leaving himself and the team vulnerable, fly the drone into position, and then wait for those few seconds to set off the EMP. And even then, an enemy can shoot the drone before the EMP goes off, making the whole setup pointless. And I want to reiterate, it's not that I think Crypto or his EMP are bad. Far from it, actually. I think the EMP is the best part of his kit. I'm just explaining how it doesn't really align with what I consider a good combat ability to be. My point is, it can be really tricky to use the drone in any meaningful way once already in combat. You see, people avoid playing Crypto because it seems like such a big responsibility. Your team expects you to use your drone well, in such a way that won't be a detriment to the team, but also often enough to justify you playing Crypto, when maybe a Bloodhound or a Seer would be more beneficial in the moment. It's too much to worry about, so people just don't end up playing Crypto that much, and so they never learn how to use him properly for when they do play him. So how can we fix all that? Let's start with Crypto's passive, Neuralink. Before I even describe it, see if you can remember what it is. Go on, I'll give you a second. Do you know it? Because I honestly could not for the life of me remember what this ability was, and I've been playing this game long enough to know all of the Legend's abilities. But the reason I was struggling with this one is because all Neuralink does is make it so that enemies detected by the surveillance drone are marked for you and your teammates to see. That's barely a passive. I just assumed that was an inherent function of the drone, not Crypto's official passive. In my mind, a passive should not rely completely on a Legend's tactical to work. That kinda defeats the purpose of the ability working passively, when you had to actively do something. In this case, pilot the drone into position. So I think a good first step would be to give Crypto a real passive. And one of the best ways to do it, I think, actually comes from a Reddit post I saw like over half a year ago now. I've linked it in the description. User Zedotorian suggested that enemies scanned by Crypto would appear in the color of their body shield. I loved this idea when I first saw it because it differentiated Crypto from Bloodhound. Scanning an enemy with Crypto's drone already felt like a less good Bloodhound scan. It requires so much more manual input to get the same amount of information. This proposal would make him more unique. But then Seer came along, and his scan reveals enemies' armor and health. So I guess that's it for that idea, right? Well, not exactly. You see, Zedotorian's idea didn't completely solve my issue with Crypto, being that he doesn't have a real passive. but I still really liked the idea. So, instead of requiring Crypto to be in his drone to see enemies in the color of their shields, what if he could just see that whenever he aimed down sights? No drone required. When Crypto aims down sights at an enemy, he can see their shield color. This ability would be game-changing. For example, having a Crypto on your team could help you determine whether or not to take a fight. Crypto does a little peek at the enemies, notices they're all wearing purple armor, and tells the team not to engage. Or decides who to attack first based on who is the weakest. Whereas Seer has to actually scan the enemies and reveal his presence to get that information, Crypto would be able to do it secretly, spying on his foes from the shadows. And the trade-off, of course, would be that he doesn't get to see shield and health bars like Seer does. But this would help the trackers feel more unique. It would help give Crypto purpose. Crypto is a legend that requires more thought and maybe a slower playstyle than some others. But that's not a bad thing. He just needs some improvements that make him more accessible and give people a reason to play him as opposed to the other Recon legends. Now, admittedly, this could prove to be a very strong ability. Maybe too strong, especially at high-level play. So let's discuss a couple alternatives that I've seen tossed around. What if Crypto was immune to other scans? By which I mean, what if Bloodhound and Seer scans just didn't work on Crypto? Didn't mark him for the enemies? Maybe Seer's heartbeat sensor would still pick him up, and if Crypto got hit with a Seer scan while healing, he would still be interrupted, but the enemy Seer wouldn't know. This would make Crypto a counter to the other Recon legends. It would let him be a little bit more stealthy, and maybe even less vulnerable while using his drone. He's a paranoid tech genius. If anyone was gonna figure out how to avoid detection, it would be him. If you wanted to go a step further, he could even be undetectable by digital threat sites through smoke, though obviously that's more situational, but could still be a nice addition to his kit. Another thing, Crypto is a hacker, right? But what does he really hack? He scans, sure, he EMPs, I guess. You could say he hacks survey beacons. And then there's doors. When in his drone view, Crypto can hack doors, but that really just means opening and closing them with the drone. But what if he could hack doors separate from the drone? What if Crypto could manually hack a door and lock it shut temporarily? Let's say you've got a squad pushing you and you're blocking a door. They're prepping to kick it down. Crypto hacks the door, maybe by pressing the secondary interact button, and it locks. And now he can run back without worrying about them busting through immediately. And the door would only stay locked for like 5, maybe 10 seconds, so Crypto couldn't just lock down a building like a defensive legend, but it just seemed like a cool idea to give him a little something that he can use in combat without the drone. The point is, Crypto shouldn't be completely crippled if his drone is disabled. He should have some sort of functionality without it, whether it be seeing enemies' armor, or being invulnerable to scans, or door hacking. Just something, anything, to replace his current passive. Next, on to Crypto's tactical, the surveillance drone. Obviously the drone makes up most of Crypto's kit, but you would be forgiven for not knowing everything it does. The in-game description for the drone merely states that the ability deploys an aerial drone, 40-second cooldown if destroyed, which, as far as ability descriptions go, does an impressively terrible job at actually conveying the capabilities of the drone. Obviously, the drone can scan enemies, but it can also interact with doors, open supply bins, instantly scan survey beacons, loot dead teammates' banners, instantly respawn those dead teammates at respawn beacons, and it can see how many enemy squads are within 200 meters by looking at the kill leader banners. The drone is a very useful tool, outside of combat. Unless you're sending the drone in for an EMP, you're probably not hopping in and out of drone view, and that's because it's a huge, time-consuming risk that might not even get you that much information. This is the core of why Crypto can be so difficult to play. So what's the solution? Well, make the drone more capable, more efficient. There have been lots of suggestions for how to improve Crypto's drone, from having it follow him around, to having it active while on his person, to making the drone invisible and silent while stationary. All interesting ideas, but here's what I thought of for how to adjust the drone. Option 1. Allow the drone to scan in a full 360 degrees radius around it. Currently, the drone only scans what is directly in front of it. That means that when setting up, Crypto has to worry about orientation, and therefore, positioning it properly takes longer. Making it so that the drone could detect enemies in a full circle around it means easier setup, and that means less time spent in the drone. This would pair very well with Option 2. Make it easier for Crypto to throw out the drone without entering the drone view. When you throw out the drone, you automatically start to enter the drone camera. However, if you hold the tactical button, after the drone's initial startup, you'll be pulled back out from the cam. But even that takes too long. Crypto needs to be able to throw the drone out without slowing or stopping at all, so that it can start gathering information immediately, and even give him more of an opportunity for a mid-battle EMP. I would love it so that if you just tap the tactical button, Crypto throws out the drone without entering the camera. But if you hold it, Crypto is pulled into drone view. It would make the transition between crypto and the drone feel smoother, I think. And if you also implemented the ability for the drone to scan in a full circle, it wouldn't matter which way it's facing when he threw it out. It would just immediately start doing its job without any manual input. This could be a great distraction mid-fight, or a great way to allow crypto to scan in battle, like Seer and Bloodhound can. Option 3. Give crypto some minimal control of the drone without having to manually operate it. What if, while the drone was deployed, crypto could mark a location for it to fly over to, similar to how Mirage sends out holograms? He could reposition the drone quickly and seamlessly, so that it's still benefiting him in combat, even if the fight moves away from where he initially set it up. Now, this would really only work if the drone also had the aforementioned 360-degree scan. Otherwise, you could send it to a location and it might just end up facing a wall or something. But it would also work really well with the other option, crypto throwing out the drone without entering the cam. So here's what I'm thinking. Just pressing the tactical button would throw out the drone. Pressing and holding the tactical button would pull you into drone view. However, if the drone is already deployed and you press the tactical button, it flies over to where crypto is marked. To re-enter the drone view, you have to hold the button. And the secondary action key would still be used to recall the drone. With these 3 changes, I feel like crypto would feel so much better in and out of combat. And I don't think any of these ideas are substantial buffs or anything, but rather adjustments that make the transition between crypto and drone gameplay more manageable. Now, I know that these interactive drone controls aren't going to be everyone's cup of tea, so I'd like to direct your attention to this post from Reddit user Itaroon, who actually made a short but very comprehensive video on how they think crypto could be reworked. I've linked the post down below, so please go check it out. But in summary, Itaroon suggests adding some auto-drone modes that maneuver the drone in certain ways or on certain paths without requiring constant manual control from crypto. Definitely go watch the full video. Itaroon even covers the passive we discussed, where crypto would be immune to other recon scans, but with some clever balance changes to ensure that the ability isn't too strong. Like, instead of crypto being constantly immune to scans, he's only immune to them when in drone view. Seriously, there's some really good ideas there, I think. Props to Itaroon. Alright, it's time to talk about crypto's ultimate, the Drone EMP, which I've already mentioned a few times. The drone sets off an electromagnetic pulse that deals 50 shield damage to anyone caught in its radius, slows enemies, and disables traps. It will also damage crypto if he's caught in the blast, but will only slow his teammates, like any of the big damage ultimates. Now, when it says that the drone disables traps, what it actually means is that it disables an incredible amount of other Legends abilities. It temporarily disables Gibby's arm shield and Rampart's minigun, and immediately breaks Gibby's dome, Lifeline's heal drone, Caustic's gas traps, Mirage's holograms, Watson's fences and pylon, Loba's black market, Rampart's walls, Horizon's black hole, Seer's exhibit, and of course, other crypto drones. On paper, the EMP admittedly has a whole lot of functions, but some of that is situational, of course. If a Horizon throws a black hole on you, you're not gonna throw out your drone and then activate your ultimate, damaging your own shields in the process. You're just gonna shoot the thing. Nonetheless, the EMP is an excellent counter to a lot of Legends abilities, even if all the Legends it counters have less than a 5% pick rate, except for Lifeline who, let's be real, you're probably not gonna be using an EMP on with the express purpose of destroying the healing drone. Those stats and percentages don't really matter, I just thought it was interesting. People like fast characters who don't necessarily have a direct counter to their abilities. Anyway, I bring all of this up because Crypto is another Legend who has a pretty great ultimate. I don't think it needs to be changed. If you really wanted to buff it, I guess you could make it so that he could activate the drone while it's still on his person, or maybe you could change it so that it doesn't damage Crypto shields if he's caught in the blast. But again, I don't think that's super necessary, seeing as how it's already one of the most straightforward ultimates to actually do damage with. And there you have it. All of the ideas I had, and some I've collected from others, for how to buff or rework Crypto. Crypto is a Legend with a lot of potential. He's got a really unique playstyle, and it's not gonna be for everyone. I mean, he's never gonna be the Legend with the highest pick rate, but there are definitely ways to make him more appealing and less intimidating to play for those who do want to learn. Thank you guys again for 200 subs, and for all the support on the Watson video. I love to see your suggestions in the comments as well, so please leave your ideas down below, or any questions you might have about the ideas we talked about today. I'd be happy to discuss with you. And let me know if there's another Legend you want to see me do a video like this for. Anyway, if you liked the video, maybe give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and come back for more. If you do, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching, and take care everyone. Farewell.